Imagine this. It's a quiet Sunday evening. You're at home, sitting with your family, maybe halfway through dinner, maybe laughing, maybe just enjoying a rare moment of peace. And then suddenly, bang, bang, a loud, aggressive knock shakes your door. Police! Probation check! Open the door! Everything freezes. The room goes silent. Every eye turns toward the entrance. Your heart starts pounding, your mind starts racing, and you're left with one question. What do you do next? Because here's the reality most people don't realize. If you open that door without thinking, that moment could change everything. Not just for you, but for someone you love. That person outside might not even be who they claim to be. It could be an ICE agent. It could be law enforcement using a tactic designed to get you to open up voluntarily. And in today's environment, they are legally allowed to mislead you to make that happen. That's why this matters. Today, we're breaking down two of the most dangerous situations you can face at your own front door: deception tactics used by law enforcement and the infamous boot-in-the-door strategy. By the end of this, you'll know exactly what to say, exactly what to do, and how to protect yourself without making a costly mistake. Let's start with the most important rule, one that can prevent almost every problem before it even begins. Never open your door without knowing exactly who is on the other side. We've been conditioned since childhood to be polite. Someone knocks, you walk over, you open the door. That habit feels normal. It feels harmless. But in situations involving law enforcement, that instinct can put you at serious risk. You are under no obligation to open your door just because someone knocks. None. Use your tools. Check a camera. Look through a peephole. Peek through a window. Take your time. There is no rule that says you must respond immediately or at all. And this isn't just about you. This is something you need to teach your family, your kids, anyone living in your home. Make it clear. Strangers do not get the door. Ever. In fact, unless you were the one who called for help, unless you dialed emergency services and asked for officers to come, you should be extremely cautious about opening that door at all. Because the moment that door opens, everything changes. The second law enforcement sees you, the conversation shifts. They'll say something like, "Can you step outside for a second?" That might sound harmless, but it's not. Inside your home, you have maximum protection. Your home is your strongest legal ground. The moment you step outside, even onto your porch, you lose a huge portion of that protection. You're no longer operating from your strongest position. You're now just another person outside, subject to detention. So the real strategy is simple. Stay inside. Now, a lot of people start wondering at this point, what if they have a warrant? Here's the truth. If law enforcement has a valid warrant signed by a judge, they don't need your permission. They can force entry if necessary. But, and this is critical, you still don't have to open the door for them yourself. And here's why that matters. There have been real cases where people open their doors thinking they were dealing with legitimate officers, only to find out they were dealing with someone pretending. That one decision to open the door changed everything. So even in that situation, you verify first. Always. Now let's talk about something most people don't understand. There are different types of warrants, and not all of them give law enforcement the same authority. A judicial warrant, signed by a judge, carries real power. That's the one that can authorize entry. But there's another type, an administrative warrant. These are often used by federal agencies like immigration enforcement, and they are not signed by a judge. That means they do not give officers the automatic right to enter your home without your consent. And here's where things get tricky. Because they know that, so instead of forcing entry, they try to get you to open the door yourself. They use what I call psychological tactics, strategies designed to sound official, helpful, or urgent so you let your guard down. Let's walk through the most common ones, because these are happening more often than people think. The first is the probation check. You hear loud knocking. Probation! Open the door! It sounds serious. It sounds official. It sounds like something you're supposed to respond to, but you are not required to open that door. If you choose to respond, you can do it through the closed door. You can say, "I'm not opening the door." If you have a warrant signed by a judge, please show it. That's it. Because the moment you open that door even slightly, that's when things can escalate. Officers may place a foot in the doorway to prevent you from closing it. And once that happens, they can begin building justifications, claiming they saw something, heard something, or believed someone was in danger. At that point, the situation is no longer under your control. The second tactic is what seems like kindness. We found a wallet. We're trying to return it. It sounds helpful. It sounds harmless. But think about it. If someone really wanted to return something, they could leave it at the door. They don't need you to open up. So your response stays simple. Please leave it outside. I'm not opening the door. If they refuse, that tells you everything you need to know. It was never about the wallet. The third tactic targets your sense of responsibility. We're investigating something nearby. Someone inside might be a witness. Can you open the door so we can talk? And this is where good people get caught, because they want to help. They want to do the right thing. But opening that door turns your home into a vulnerable space. So instead, you respond through the door. I'm not answering questions. Please contact my attorney. No arguments, no explanations, just clear boundaries. The fourth tactic involves visual pressure. They might show a photo. Have you seen this person? We believe they might be inside. It's designed to make you feel confident enough to open the door and prove they're wrong. But that's the trap. Because once the door opens, everything changes. So again, the response stays the same. I'm not opening the door. I do not consent to entry. The fifth tactic is urgency. Gas leak. It's dangerous. Everyone needs to come outside. Now this one is rare and in many cases not allowed, but there have been reports of it happening. And it's effective because it creates panic. But here's the smart move. You take control. You say, I'm calling emergency services to confirm. Real emergency responders will coordinate. They will wait. Someone trying to pressure you won't. Now let's say despite everything, the door opens, and suddenly there's a foot blocking it from closing. Your instinct might be to push back, to slam the door, to react physically. Do not do that. Even if the officer is wrong, using force can immediately escalate the situation and lead to charges against you. That's a battle you don't want to fight in that moment. Instead, you step back, keep your hands visible, stay calm, and say clearly, I do not consent to your entry. I do not consent to any searches. I am invoking my right to remain silent. Those words matter. They create a record. They protect you later, even if things go sideways in the moment. And if they claim to have a warrant, ask to see it. And make it clear you do not consent beyond its scope. Throughout all of this, there's one tool that can make a huge difference. Your phone. Record everything. The conversation, the faces, the badges, any document they show you, everything. Because in situations like this, documentation can become your strongest defense later. At the end of the day, your home gives you power, but only if you stay inside it. The moment you step out or open that door blindly, you give up a significant portion of that protection. This isn't about being difficult. It's not about being disrespectful. It's about understanding your rights and protecting yourself in situations where a simple mistake can have serious consequences. If you made it this far, you now know more than most people ever will about what to do in these moments, and that knowledge alone can change the outcome of a situation. I want to hear from you. Would you open the door in that moment, or would you hold your ground? Drop your thoughts below. I read those comments more than you think. And if you found this valuable, stay with me, because there's a lot more people need to understand, but rarely get told. At the end of the day, your safety doesn't come from reacting in the moment. It comes from knowing exactly what to do before that moment ever happens.